Hey guys, welcome back. Ricky here. Alright, so one of the questions I get from my subscribers often is, can I use a Yanagaba over a chef knife? I'm just getting into Japanese knives and I really love the way Yanagabas look, so can I just buy that instead of a chef knife or a Gyoto? And my response is usually, what are you using it for, right? I don't like to give kind of the blanket response. Yeah, buy a Japanese knife because they're sharper, they're easier to maintain. If you like sharpening your knives, if you like the sharpest knife, then go buy a Japanese knife. I mean, I don't like to kind of just give recommendations unless I really understand what the user needs. And so today, this is my first cut test in a very long time. And I'm basically making a salad for my daughter in a stir fry. And so I took that opportunity to come out here, and my studio's been cleaned up relatively okay, so I can bring food in here now. And so I'm going to do a really quick, unscientific test and show you guys how I cut my vegetables using a Gyoto side by side with a Yanagaba. And then you can really tell for yourself, or you can generally see if a Yanagaba can hold up to the the daily practicalities of having a Gyoto or a chef knife. Just as a disclaimer though, I am not a chef. I am not trained formally in any sort of restaurant business other than washing dishes. So my knife skills aren't great. Please don't hold me to that. But I can use a knife. I know how to use a knife. And so, really this is not a scientific test, okay? So please don't write me saying that you did a crappy job comparing these two knives. This is just general use in the kitchen, making a salad for my daughter. Okay, so there will be other tests I'll do where I'm cutting fish and cutting other meats, where one knife really may show the advantage over the other. But to me, this is an average meal. People who are watching this channel, this may be kind of your once a day type of meal that you prepare for your family, for yourself. And so hopefully it'll give you guys a rough idea of how they compare in a situation like making salad. Okay, so I've got, so let me show you guys these, both these knives are actually fairly sharp, I believe. And it's been a few months since I've actually used them. But the Masamoto, this is the Masamoto KS, I'm sorry, not the KS. This is the Masamoto VG, and it's a Gyoto, it's a Japanese Gyoto, and it's fairly sharp, as you can see here. Yeah, I mean, it's not razor sharp, but it's probably been like 4 or 5 months since I've actually sharpened this knife because I've got so many other knives that I'm testing. This knife was last sharpened on, I want to say, a 6000 King. So fairly good edge here. And so let me show you the Yanagaba. The Yanagaba is probably a little bit sharper. I think this was sharpened on an 8000 grit Naniwa Snow White. So you can see here, it's pretty sharp. Okay, so by most standards, both these knives are very sharp, and they are kitchen ready, whether a professional kitchen or a home kitchen. So you guys know that both knives are sharp, and so that will be a factor that we would eliminate at this point. Okay, so next I'm gonna I'm just gonna start cutting. Again, I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through. Let you know what I'm actually feeling, which knife feels better or worse. I'll start with the Gyoto, and so what we'll do is I'll cut the salad here, and I will separate. I'll separate a few leaves. And in your kitchen, you simply just chop away, right? So very simple. There should be no problems there. So this is a red onion. Okay, it's a little dirty, or the skin's a little beat up. Okay, let's pull that bad part out. And this is being fed to my family, so I need to make sure that I'm as clean as I can be, or I keep these ingredients relatively clean. Okay. So very easy. I mean, the Masamoto has always been a really good knife. I mean, this is one of my favorite knives in the studio here. Okay, so very easy. This is something that is expected from a knife of this caliber, of this sharpness, and it's just a really good knife. And I know the lure of buying a Yanagaba. When I first started getting into Japanese knives, I noticed, you know, when you search on, you know, if you Google Japanese knives, you will find Yanagabas, and they are everywhere. And you go to a local Japanese restaurant, you see your chef using them. And so the lure is you want to have that knife that the chefs use, which is fine. I mean, for the most part, it's fine. But the issue with that is you may not be using the knife to its fullest potential if you are just cutting vegetables at home. So this is a potato. What I'll do is I'll cut it this way. And again, my cutting skills aren't great, so don't comment on that. Hey, not bad, not bad. I'm actually going to be doing a stir fry with some potatoes and onions. So yeah, nice thin slices. Not bad, not bad. It's the knife, not me. Okay, so then we'll do, let's see, if we make quarters or something like that, or wedges, thin slices. I shouldn't have cut it in half, but I did. Here we go. And for all my viewers and subscribers who are chefs, please don't laugh at my knife skills. They're not bad, but they're not great, okay, I admit, but nice thin slices here. So the Matsumoto is just a very, very good performing knife, and you will not be disappointed with this knife. Okay. We have, what else do we have here? Oh, we have a cabbage. That's right. My daughter loves cabbage, and I'm so happy that I have a daughter that loves cabbage. You guys have no idea how nice it is to come home to you know, or to make a meal for a daughter that says, I want cabbage or I want vegetables. I'm gonna skin this because it is gonna be eaten by a little girl. And she doesn't like skin. She hates skin on a lot of things, even on some of the fruit that I love eating skin. Like peaches, she likes to peel her peach skin. Apples, same thing. And you know, I'll do a few of these just so we get it out the way. A lot of folks have been asking for actual food cut tests, and as I have explained in one of my or a couple of my videos, my studio here is just really dusty, or was really dusty. It's gotten a lot better now because I've been cleaning it out a lot, and so I am getting more comfortable cooking and preparing some foods in here. So hopefully I will do more videos like this with more side-by-side comparisons of different types of knives for you guys. So appreciate your patience on that. And also, you know, I'm not a chef, and so I know that people who want to see real knife skills, you don't come to my channel for that. Okay, so I don't want to pretend that I am better than you know, what I really am. I'm not a professional cook. I'm not a professional chef at all, and so that's why I've kind of hesitated. I don't want to do any videos of knife skills because I don't have knife skills. At least I don't think I do. Okay, so we have our. So I'll do 3 carrots, or 2 carrots, with the Gyuto. Then I'll do the 3 with the Yanagaba, and then you can see what their main difference is. Oh, I should have gone side by side, huh? Backwards. You know what? Let me do the. You know, I'll do all the vegetables first. Let's just get it out the way. All right. So for the carrot, my daughter likes thin slices, especially when I stir fry them. So I'm gonna do 1 carrot where so she likes these sticks. She loves eating sticks. So this is thin slices where I stir fry them. Again, I'm just showing you how I actually cook in my own kitchen. I'm not trying to be fancy, and I'm not trying to, you know, show off skills that I don't really have. But my daughter loves these slices. When we cook them, she just instead of using her fork, she just picks them up and eats them. Sometimes raw, and sometimes in the stir fry. And then for these, same thing. And these, we just do a couple slices down here. So I mean, the Matsumoto has been one of my favorite knives since I started buying Japanese knives. It's actually one of my, I believe it was my second Japanese knife that I purchased. The first one was the Tojiro DP, which is a fantastic knife. And so this one, I'm gonna go one slice down. And she also, and this is for the stir fry. She loves these little rings in her rice. So it's getting a little bit tougher to do the quick chop when you get towards the end here, but still doable. You don't go as fast, and you just slow down just a little bit. Okay, so all right, and this guy will just slice this way. Okay, so those are my carrots. And then we have, oh, the cabbage, that's right. Okay. So I'll have the half, so I've got a quarter here. So cabbage they tend to be very, very sticky. And I have found that this is a little, yeah, okay. Actually, I'm gonna cut this part off because it was cut a few days ago. This I will not eat. Okay, so for my cabbage, what we do is I cut a diagonal, remove the stem, or the bottom end of the stem, and then I simply go down, I guess, is it chopping the head off? Because it's sitting this way. So yes, we go this way. Okay, so this is how here we go. And then as a stir fry, this is really easy. And okay. So these are all thrust cuts, what I'm doing. I tend to like thrust cuts when I cut my vegetables. Nakiris also work really well in this situation, but I'll do a nakiri test in another video. So we'll cut here. Again, I don't know the proper way to cut vegetables. For those who are chefs, please send me a message and let me know how I'm cutting, what I can do better to actually properly cut certain vegetables. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that is that's all the vegetables I have for the gyotso. I'm gonna now do the same thing, or attempt to do the same thing, with the yanagiba, and see how we do. Oops. Let's move over here. And I'll also have to separate all the ingredients inside later, especially the romaine lettuce. Okay, before that, let's do a quick wipe down here. Okay, so again, this is the Tojiro, and we will do the greens, and then we will move up the level of difficulty. So for light greens, I don't think that the Tojiro will have a problem at all. I would be very, very surprised if it did. But because it is a very straight profile, you have to use more of a straight push cut. And right now, I can tell you that my you can see the height is not very tall. It's a very short knife, and so my knuckles, I have to just make an effort to make sure that my knuckles aren't going to hit the cutting board. So right there, just cutting green lettuce, you feel a slight, just a slight inkling of what the limitation of this knife is going to be. And then we'll do the potato. Okay, so if I attempt to cut the potato the same way I did with the chef knife, you might have a problem. So I'm gonna try to do some fast cuts here and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I really can't, I guess I can do a pinch grip. Okay, so right there I can tell you that my control is not very good. I don't have that ability to actually move the knife very fast. My slice is also much thicker. I didn't have any slices that were this thick on the chef knife. So let's try again here. Yeah, so you see, it's also the potato is also sticking to the knife a lot more on the flat side. Let's go over here. Okay, so you can do it. It just takes a little bit more effort. If you saw right there, actually that was actually pretty cool. I cut a whole bunch of cuts and the slices were so thin and the knife is so sharp that the pieces actually didn't fall apart when they were on the potato. But here they go again, a lot of slices here. So you can fast chop to a certain degree. I don't recommend it. It's a little bit more, just a little bit more difficult. And I definitely think that going up towards the cabbage and the carrots, you will see the limitations there. So I'll go. So now we did so we did vertical cuts, so long cuts, and let's see how we do with faster cutting. Yeah. So I can tell you right now when I'm trying to cut where there's more surface area, instead of going the short way, going the long way, there is a lot more stickiness on this side of the knife, and it's actually causing me to just stutter a little bit. So yeah, I can't lift the knife up very quickly. So if you're gonna cut, lengthwise and give you large wedges, you just want to go slow, or slow down just a little bit, and just let the knife do the work instead of your muscles doing the work. So right here in this scenario where I'm trying to make bigger thin wedges, it doesn't work really well. At least not consistently thin like this one here. I can't get the entire potato to look the same. You can see there's some thick pieces here and some thin pieces. And again, these are my, also my skill as a, let's say my knife skills are also very limited. So a person with better knife skills can probably produce a very consistent edge or consistent slices with this sort of a knife. I don't have that ability. So, okay, so now cutting an onion. We're gonna cut an onion here. So let's pull this part off. Toss this out, and let's remove this guy. Okay, so, and being that this is a carbon knife, you can see that it's already the acid of the onions is actually forming, forcing this knife to form a patina as we're actually cutting. You see some green here, so. One of the limitations, or one of the joys of owning a carbon knife. Okay, so we're gonna do slices or cuts into the onion. We're gonna try to julienne this thing. Ooh, boy. It's a very long knife, so I gotta be careful I don't cut myself. Okay, so it has the sharpness to actually cut anything. But you can see here that I have to slow down just a little bit. On a pinch grip, the knife also digs into my fingers here, so or my finger, so it's not very comfortable. And you don't want to use this knife, at least when you're cutting vegetables. You don't want to hold just the handle. Having a pinch grip will give you slightly better knife control. Okay, so it will, it can cut an onion, as you can see here, but now I can't scoop it up. So let's use my hands. Okay. Okay, so now for the carrots. This is going to be fun and interesting. Let's see how we do here. Okay, the ends I toss out. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to try to cut rings coming up the carrot and see how we do. Okay. Okay, so as you're seeing here, at the bottom of the carrot where the carrot is more narrow, it's easier when I'm actually chopping, doing some quick chops with the front half of the knife. Once I get towards the end, I actually have to move that cut area closer to my hand to have more leverage and more weight, and where I just, instead of trying to chop down, I push down into the carrot. Okay, so you can see there, this knife is starting to see its limits in terms of how you use it and what vegetables or what to actually use it for. Okay, so what we'll do now is we will have it, and I will. Also, there we go. That's another limitation there. You see that? Trying to make this a straight cut just did not work. It's too much of a wedge shape, and so I actually pushed the knife towards the left because this is a right-handed knife and the shinogi line it's on the right-hand side. So I pushed the knife left. And let's do that with one more time and show you guys what it actually looks like. So this is let's make this a straighter cut here. Okay, so we'll go straight down. You see that? It actually went towards the left again. So that's something that you guys actually should know if you wanted to use a yanagaba for making long straight cuts. It just doesn't quite work. Alright, so we're gonna go and do thin slices. And in this scenario, it's okay. It's alright because the knife is nice and straight. It actually produces some really nice carrot sticks. And if I'm using the wrong name for these cuts, please forgive me. I don't always know what the correct terminology is. Okay, so this is a little bit more of a struggle. It seems that whenever I am trying to cut more when there's more surface, there's actually more surface touching the knife gets really sticky. And, well, the vegetables are kind of sticky, so it's not the most optimal knife to use for trying to make the longer cuts. At least not on a carrot. On fish, it's the best knife for it. Okay. We'll go this way. Okay, so we'll go this way. So you can see there on a small carrot, it actually works okay. And And because it's also very straight, so you have to get that perfect line on the board. You can't lift your hand up, and you can't lift the knife too close to the board with your hand, or you can't bring your knuckles too close to the board. So finding that perfect balance where you can do some straight, fast straight cuts is a little bit more of a challenge. But you're able to do some cuts here, some straight fast cuts. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the cabbage, which is going to be interesting. By the way, never drag the edge of your blade on your cutting board, okay? That's the fastest way, or one of the fastest way to ruin your edge. So always drag the spine on the cutting board, and you can do that all day long. Nothing will get damaged. Board won't get damaged, knife won't get damaged. Okay, so let's remove this one side here. Okay, so you can see there, even that one cut straight, straight down, the knife is actually pulling left and pulling into the cabbage. And then I'm gonna cut this stem out. Okay, so we're gonna do what we did before. We're gonna go down this way, and then halfway through I'll turn the cabbage and go the other way. Okay, so what's happening now is as I'm getting towards, I'm moving just a quarter of the way in, and it's actually starting to build a lot of friction. My grip, because I don't have a true pinch grip, is actually kind of uncomfortable at this point. And I can't just hold the handle because you don't have proper knife control that way. Yeah, and just holding the handle, my knuckles actually hit the board at this point. So having a pinch grip and having to readjust my grip is not very comfortable right now. Although the knife is actually cutting into the cabbage very easily, but that doesn't make up for the fact of the awkward holding position that I have to do at this point. And you can see every cut is actually going slightly left, or see that? And I'm trying to cut straight in. You can't do a straight cut. Everything is very arched to the left. Okay. And toss that away. Okay, so we will do the same. So hopefully you guys can see that from your angle. Let's see, let's go this way. Okay, so straight down. Let's see how the knife is actually cutting into the left. And that's purely because of the shape, the wedge shape, and the thicker shinogi line on the right hand side. It's pushing the knife left. Right there is when I can't do any more fast cuts. The spine is digging into my finger, and that has more to do with the fact that this is not a well-rounded spine, so that is causing some discomfort there. But even without that, it just doesn't have that same cutting power because the knife is so thin. It doesn't have the weight behind the cutting edge to really go through your vegetables as quickly as you would like it on like a Gyuto or a chef knife. Okay, there we go. Let's just finish this up. Alright, so now I have to explain to my wife why all the vegetables are mixed in one bowl and not separated for the stir fry and the salad. I will deal with that. Okay, so let's put whatever we can away. And then we're going to dry our knife off. Normally in my kitchen, I have a rag that actually has a bit of mineral oil soaked in it, so that when I finish cutting and finish using a knife that's a carbon knife, I will just clean it off and oil the knife so that it forms a patina much more slowly and more consistent and easier to control. And the rust comes a lot slower, if ever. So let me find my mineral oil right there. Okay. Okay, so for my knives and my board, I usually use a food grade mineral oil. And these you can find at your local pharmacy, and they're typically found in the laxative aisle because people use them to relieve themselves, or aid in relieving themselves. So this is how I store my knives, and this is off topic, but I take a rag that's been soaked in some mineral oil, and I just simply run it on the cutting edge, actually on the entire blade. And this will actually help you, and I do this after I wash the knife, by the way, but I'm in my studio, there's no running water here, and then I simply store the knife this way, and this will help you slow down your patina formation, and it makes it much more manageable, especially when you are cutting a lot of acidic foods like onions or lemons. This will make your knife form a much more even patina, and rust will not likely form on this knife. And that is how I care for my carbon knife, at least just short-term stuff. Alright, so let's just put this, let's pull the vegetables away, and we'll do our conclusion, my thoughts, closing thoughts. Oh, that's alright, I'm going to go in and wash this knife anyways. And this is stainless. So the VG is stainless. I'm not so worried about it. Vegetables just sitting on the surface here. It won't damage the knife at all. Okay, so you know, so you guys saw what the results were, and obviously the Gyuto outperformed the Yanagaba in pretty much every respect in terms of ease of use, practicality. It's just as even though it might not be as sharp in terms of just raw sharpness, it was sharp enough to outperform the Yanagaba in all of the tests that I needed it for. Cutting the cabbage, it was a lot easier overall. It didn't hesitate. It wasn't cutting to the left, especially on the carrots. It was able to perform a straight cut down the center of the carrot, versus the Yanagaba, you had a very curved to the left. And if you had a Yanagaba that was more of a lefty, it would curve to the right. And that has everything to do with the way that they are shaped. That's just what they are like. And so on the green lettuce, so green lettuce and Napa cabbage, romaine lettuce, you won't have an issue using the Yanagaba because it is very, very sharp, and the leaves will be cut very, very easily. You don't have to put a lot of force into cutting green leaves. But once you start moving up to the carrots and potatoes, the limitations of the Yanagaba really become apparent, and you don't want to use that for daily use. So it's not going to be a knife that most people who are just getting into Japanese knives would want to buy. Your best bet is buying a Gyuto or a chef knife. They are much more versatile, and they're designed for daily use in your kitchen. So although I won't say that you should not buy a Yanagaba, because they are beautiful, they are stunning, you will not be disappointed with owning one because they're just just a work of art. But the issue is, unless you're using it often, unless you're cutting fish and meats more often than, let's say, 3 or 4 times a week or once a week, you probably don't want to buy that as your first Japanese knife. I have a couple and I just love them, so I have them here in my studio. But for daily use, I can tell you that in the last 4 or 5 months, I have only used a Yanagaba maybe once or twice, and that was just because I had some fish come into the home, and even with my smoked salmon, I use my Gyutos for that. And so so you really have to decide for yourself if a Yanagaba is really the right knife for you, especially if you are new to Japanese knives. You don't want to buy a Japanese knife that will not be practical and will turn you away from buying more Japanese knives. They are a lot of fun. I really tell you, they are a lot of fun, especially to sharpen and to see how sharp they can really get. It's actually quite nice. But for daily use, for those who are just looking for a good knife, you don't want to go for a Yanagaba. Go for the Gyuto. It's much more practical. It's easier to handle, easier to use. It can get just as sharp as a Yanagaba with some proper techniques. And as you can see, this knife here, it's one of the best knives you can buy. It's a great knife. Yeah, you will not be disappointed with buying a chef knife for daily use or Gyuto over a Yanagaba. But but that is it. Anyways, guys, I have again, leave your comments. Let me know what other vegetables you guys or knives you want me to compare. I take a lot of my comments and actually create videos in the future based on what people are asking for. And so this is really a non-scientific test. This is really how I use my knives in the kitchen. Again, I am not a knife expert, so please don't. Well, you can critique my knife skills if you want, but just don't insult me by saying you don't know what you're doing. I don't really know what I'm doing. Okay, I'm cutting these vegetables based on how I use them and what I'm capable of. So I'm not trying to pretend to be anyone I'm not. And Yeah, so overall though, I mean, both knives will work. You can see that this knife will work for daily use in the kitchen. It just is not optimal. So that's really the key to take away is from this whole video is you can certainly go out and buy a Yanagaba if you're just getting into Japanese knives. You just have to understand the limitations, and you're not going to get the same performance out of a Yanagaba in daily usage on, let's say, cutting vegetables as you would on a gyotso. So that is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.